Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Quick Start video guides. This first video is just a bit of an introduction just to show you the look and feel of Enterprise and give you a bit of a feel for it before you start having to do anything. These Quick Start videos will cover the setup in each module and also the modules that we feel you need to cover and you need to look at to help you start processing your orders, invoices, any transactions that are required in Enterprise. We don't cover every menu option within Enterprise, as some of it will require consultancy, which will need to be booked, and some menu options we don't feel are relevant to get you set up and running and processing orders and things like that. So if there are things that you see on the screen that I'm just not mentioning, it's because we don't feel they're relevant for what you're going to need. If you do, however, see some of these menu options and you feel it's something that you would like to use, or maybe something that you want to kind of cover with a bit of consultancy, then again, contact the office and we can arrange some consultancy to go through this. At this point, your database should have already been created with the correct financial year by one of our support team. Once your database has been created, you should see it here with the correct company name. The user code will be admin and the password will also be admin. Now the password isn't case sensitive. You could type it all in capitals, all in lowercase, it doesn't matter. We can see here the connection is through the LAN. That will either be set up to local area network or internet. Again, if your database has been created by us, then this will all be set, so you shouldn't need to worry about that. The Remember Me option, this will remember your user code. It doesn't remember your password. It'll just keep the user code in there every time so you don't have to enter it. And all you'll need to enter on the login screen is the password. Once you've put the password in, you can either click sign in with the mouse, or once you've put the password in, you can just press enter. When this logs you into Enterprise, you can see straight away we're in the CRM module and it immediately shows us the calendar. We can see the different modules going across the top, so we can see CRM, 200 is customer. As I select customer, you'll see the menu options have changed and the screen has also changed. If we click 300 for supplier, we can see everything supplier related. We've then got inventory, banking, accounting, and system manager. What we've then got within each of these modules, if I just go back to the customer to give you a better example, we can see here our ribbon menu going across the top. What we have, whenever we select these options, we usually have a new and a find. There may be additional options in there as opposed to just new and find. You might have something else within there, but as you select the menu option, we can see we have a new customer and find customer. So if we wanted to look at an order, whether we wanted to create a new one or whether we wanted to inquire, we know we're always going to go to order, and then we've got new order and find order. We do also have this workflow screen here, which we can see. So we can see we do have some shortcuts for things that you might do quite often. So we've got new sales quote, new order, new invoice, find customer, find quote, find sales order. These are shortcut buttons and you will see these in each of the modules. However, if we select find customer, what this then does, as you will find in most of the screens in Enterprise, this then gives us a list view. Once you have clicked those shortcuts and you've got that list view, you then don't get that workflow back. If you wanted to get the workflow back, you would have to come back up to dashboard and select workflow. I don't see the point in that when you have all these options up here. This is what we will look at when we're going through the videos. We're going to focus on these menu options up here. I won't really concentrate on these. When we go to find customer, we can see it gives us a list of all our customers. These find screens are quite nice. You can search on anything pretty much that you can see in these screens. So for example, if I search on the word toy, we can see it has brought up any customer that has the name toy in the description. If toy was in any of these other fields, it would also come up as well. So for example, if I search on BB1 and press enter, you can see it's brought up any customer that has got BB1 in the postcode. If I just delete that search bar out and press enter, it'll take us back. Now, as default, Enterprise, down the bottom right here, what we've got is we've got 1,000 records. So if you had 1,500 customers, it would only show you the first 1,000 when you're looking. If you wanted to see more, then you can press the F2 button up the top right here to view all, and that will then show you all of them. What we've also got with the searching, as I say, you can search on anything that you see in these columns. What we can also do, on the right hand side here, we have these letters. If we select these letters, that then filters where the customer name begins with this letter. For example, if we were to pick B, we can see we just get 2 customers that begin with B. These ones down the right hand side look at the first character of the customer name, whereas if you use the search bar, that will then give you anything that has got Thai in any of these fields that are searchable. What we can also do on these screens, which is quite nice, we can group by field. So what we can see up here, it says drag a column header to group by that column. Now as default, this screen is just a list view. It's not got a grouping on there as standard. If we wanted to group and see which customers were assigned to which rep, if we click on Sales Rep Group and just drag that over here to the left hand side, we can see the 2 arrows. If I let go of that with my mouse and drop that in, we can see this particular one doesn't have a sales rep, and then all of these customers are linked to Sales Rep 1 and these are linked to Sales Rep 2. If I then wanted to group that by the country as a second grouping, I can click on Country, drag that in, and we can see it's now grouping by sales rep and country. So we can see rep 1 has got 1 in Ireland, and the rest of them we can see we've got 10 in the UK. But sales rep 1 has 11 people assigned to them. If I want to put that back as it was, I can just drag the columns back in anywhere. And again, you can drag and drop these columns. So if I just want to put the sales rep further over to the left, we can see we can drag and drop that there. Now, if I was to do view all again, it will just put it back to the standard format and where those columns appear. What we do also have when we're looking at this find screen, if I just right click on the customer code, for example, just on these, it doesn't have to be on customer code, it can be on any of these label headings. If I right click with my mouse and do show auto filter row, what that will do is that will give me a filter above each column. In here, if I just wanted customers where the postcode began with M, if I just press M, we can see it will then filter out on those customers. The search bar at the top here searches every single field that is enabled as searchable in the database. These ones will only search in the column that you are in. So if I was to type toy, we can see we get nothing because no customer actually begins with toy. If we just delete that out and just do star toy, this will then just give us all of the customers that have got toy in that particular column. You can see if we were to come over here and do star toy, because we're searching in that particular column, it doesn't find it. So the auto filter is quite nice, but it only searches on the column that you are in. The search bar at the top, as I say, searches everything. So if you want to take that off, again, we can just right click and hide auto filter row. You can also, if we right click, we've got show find panel. So in here, again, if I type toy, as I type toy, you can then see it will highlight the customers which have got toy in the description. If I was to do Manchester, we can see it's highlighted Manchester in both of those columns. The auto filter and the find option will only search the first 1,000 records that you're showing. What we're just going to look at now in the customer module, and this is the same in every module, so in supplier, inventory, banking, you have this dashboard option. Within this dashboard, you will have the workflow. Workflow there takes us back to that workflow screen that we can use. We also have the option for reports. Now the reports in Enterprise are specific to each module. So you can see here we're in the customer module. We've gone to dashboard and report, and this is then showing us all of the reports in the customer module. If we go to supplier and dashboard and report, this then brings up all of the reports for the supplier module. Now, any report in Enterprise, when you double click or whenever you're printing an invoice or anything like that, it always brings up this print dialog box. As default in Enterprise, everything is set to print preview. So if we just click to print on this particular report, we've not added any criteria or done anything to the report, but you can see it's just giving us everything. It's just brought it up to preview. Unless you change a specific report, everything will default to preview. When you're on the reports, just one thing that's quite important to point out, it kind of catches a lot of people out. If we're on this purchase daybook here, but we tick that we want the daybook invoices and then untick the transaction one, we can see even though the purchase daybook invoices is ticked, down here, the purchase daybook all transactions is the one that is highlighted. So what we can see on the dialog box up here, it says settings for purchase daybook all transactions. If I then went in and started changing some criteria, it's actually doing it for this report and not the one that we've got ticked. What I would always recommend to people, if you've come in here and you're doing something, if you then want to pick a different report, I would always recommend doing select none up here and then tick the one that you want. If you do it that way, then it's ticked and it's highlighted and then you've got the settings for the correct daybook. On this print dialog box as well, you can see there is a filter criteria tab. In here, there is criteria set for most of the reports in Enterprise. You then have the option whether you want to do all. If it's a date range, you can obviously do between. If it's a field where it's a multi-select, you can do in list or between. So you can filter your reports as required. What we've got, if we just go back to customer for a moment, and I'm going to go to find customer, what we can see on the customer window, on the supplier window, we have these shortcut buttons going across. So you can see here, new quote, sales order, invoice. Again, you have the same on the supplier to do purchase orders, contacts, things like that. These shortcut buttons do only need a single click. The new contact one here is probably the quickest way for you to create a contact on either customer or supplier. You're already in the record, we just want to create a new contact. We can see when we're in a window, up the top, we have new buttons, save, save and close. These buttons tend to be in the same place on every screen. So if we just go to an order a second and open an order up, you can see here, obviously the menu options will change. You might have some additional ones, but we can see new, save, save and close, undo, find, delete and print are all pretty much in the same place on every window. So you will get used to seeing those options. If you have changed something, then generally you want to do save and close. In Enterprise, when we look at customers and we've got new customer and find customer, we can see they've got a number next to them. If we go to order, we can see 205220. If we are in this customer screen here, or we're in an order, and we want to go and look at find item and we want to get the full list of items, what we can do, we have a number key option up here. Now you can see in the brackets there, F12 takes you straight into that number key. And you will have this on pretty much most of the screens that you're in. If I press F12, that takes me into that field. If I press 411, which I know is find item, and press enter, you can see it's kept my sales order open, but it's taken me straight to the find item. If I then want to go back to the sales order list, I can press F12 again, type 220, and you can see that's taken me back to that list. So these menu options are good for remembering the option that you want, but they're also good for using in the F12. What you will also see in Enterprise is you'll see lots of hyperlinks. So we can see if it's blue, it's got the hyperlink underneath them. We can generally drill into them. So we can see here bike 01. If I double click onto that, that will take me straight to the actual item code itself. If I close that and I go to the handgun, you can see again it's taken me straight to that product record. If we come down to the bottom, we can see here we've got the ship to. If I double click on that, it's taken me straight to the ship to record. We can see with the contact, if we double click, that takes us straight to the contact where we can obviously update email addresses, things like that. So what I just want to show you now, if we just go into do a new order a second, come in here, we've put the order on, we realise it's the wrong customer, we don't want to save it. Because at the top here it says to be generated, it hasn't saved it, it hasn't given it a sales order number, we can close out of the screen without saving it. If I was going to do that, I would use the undo option. Now undo, it isn't like Excel where it just undoes the last option, so it wouldn't just take out the handgun that I've put in here, it would blank the whole form. You can see if we click undo, it blanks the form, it hasn't saved it, it was to be generated, it's not taken the next number. What I just want to explain to you now, if we just go to the accounting module and go and look at the account periods. Enterprise is a period-based accounting system. What we can see here is we've got a January to December financial year. If we were to put a sales invoice on with any date of January, then it will go into the January period. If we put on a transaction anywhere in the system, whether that's a stock adjustment, a bank receipt, bank payment, anything with a date of February, it will go into the February, obviously 2020 period if you've put that year on. The transactions that happen all throughout Enterprise will all be linked to these periods. This is why whenever you're running any reports in Enterprise, it's best that you do it period-based reports, because that is how the accounting module will do it. You can see if we go to our chart of account by period, we go January to December and we pick our profit and loss. You can see we get all of the columns for that financial year. What Enterprise also does is automatic cost of sales. What you might be used to is when you buy stock, it goes straight to the profit and loss, maybe goes to 5,000 for purchases. In Enterprise, that doesn't happen. We have the sale and we have the cost of sales. What happens if I just go into an invoice a second? When this invoice is posted, these figures will all go to the sales nominal codes. These items all have a cost on them. So it's this cost that will go to the cost of goods sold. When you're looking at your chart of accounts, your sales and your costs are more accurate. They both hit the P&L at the same time. As soon as that sale hits, the cost will hit. If you've bought a lot of stock from a supplier at the end of the month, you might have that purchase invoice going on, for example, the 31st of January. However, you've not sold that stock yet, so your P&L for January might be showing a loss. Technically, you haven't lost it. That stock is an asset. So what Enterprise does, whenever you purchase anything that is stock, it will go to 1001 on the balance sheet, which is the inventory control account. When it is then sold, it then hits the sales and the cost of sales, and it will also take it off the inventory control account. So we can see here, these have all gone to our sales. This is our cost of sales, and it's then taken it off the inventory control account. And you can see the cost of sales and the inventory control are identical. Obviously, one's a debit, one's a credit. Hopefully that's enough to give you a bit of an overview for now. You can now start looking at the quick start guides to help you start setting up your database.